So we're working on the building your own or designing your own cathedral project, and you need two things. You've got your blank sheet of computer paper here, and then you have the handout. Now the handout has some information here about cathedrals, that kind of thing, and then it has the instructions right here, and it says on the front side of your sheet of paper you're going to draw me a floor plan of the cathedral. And then on the back side, you're going to recreate this chart and fill in some information there. So the first part we're going to take is actually drawing the cathedral floor plan. Now, there's a certain shape and a certain direction that the cathedral should be. And so when I read through the information on the back side of the sheet of paper, I'll be able to figure all of that out. And it tells me a couple of different things about the shape and the direction and all that, because I've got to label that on my floor plan. It also gives me an example floor plan you can kind of see here, and there's a bunch of different things labeled on here. They're actually numbered, but we're going to label. And so we don't need to do necessarily all of that, because we're only interested in these 6 items here that are in our chart. There are 14 labeled here. We only need to deal with the 6 that are on here, so don't worry about the rest of them. So as I read through and I find out some information about cathedrals, I figure out that I'm ready to draw my floor plan, and it tells me that most cathedrals are in the shape of a cross. That's the Christian symbol, and they go from east to west. So for me, that means that most likely I'm going to draw this landscape, and it makes more sense for me to do that. So you can use a ruler to make them nice and straight. I'm just going to use a pad of paper here to make my life easy, but you can do it however you want. But I'm going to draw out a cross and make it as nice and straight as I possibly can, so that way my floor plan looks fairly nice and neat. I can draw this whole thing out, and you can see that. And once again, you can use your book, you can use whatever you need, a ruler if you've got it, to make nice straight lines. That's up to you. I'm going to draw out the floor plan. Of the cathedral. So let me get this thing finished up here. You can see it's not taking me too long to kind of get this thing done. It's kind of what we want to end up dealing with. Okay, and I'll probably add some things into my cathedral just to make it end up being a little bit more like, for example, this here is what we call the nave, so I'm going to label that. And this is where the people sit, so I'm going to draw in some benches where people can sit, so that way we can kind of represent that this is where the people come in and they sit and pray, listen to the sermon, those kind of things. Okay, so I've got that drawn in here. So I'm adding some detail to these things, not a ton. Okay, and then I would add in the seats also on this side. People sit on both sides. You guys know that. Okay, now most have a dome. I'm going to represent that, and it's usually in the center here, so I'm going to represent that with a circle, and there's my dome. I can even label that. These are the transepts. Here's the choir. We've got the high altar back here. Okay, so we've got all these different pieces that we need to deal with, and they're all in here. You know, we've got some extra chapels off the side if we want to deal with that. This is be an extra room where people could go if they wanted to have a private ceremony of some form or something like that. And so we've got those kinds of things. I might even draw in to represent the stairs or the staircase outside, so you can kind of see this is the main entrance into the cathedral. Here are the main doors. Okay, and so you've got the main staircases out front to get in. And then my compass rose, I always need that. Got north, south, east, and west. And you can see that my cathedral runs east and west like it's supposed to. Make this a little bit fancier in some way, but really that's all it is. Okay, and so I've got those things drawn in. Once I have this all detailed out with labeled the way I need, then I can turn it over and I'm going to build my chart that I need for the different parts of the cathedral. Okay, so I've got name and description. Okay, and the first thing I've got is the nave. So I'm going to label that. And what I need to write over here are two things. First thing is where the nave is located in the church, and then what the nave is used for. So what is the purpose of the nave? And once I write that out, and I'm good to go, I can draw my line. I'll write in the second one, choir, and I'll do the same thing, write those out, draw across my chart. And once again, all of the information for all of this is right here on this sheet. Remember, we're only doing these 6 items, and these items need to be labeled on your drawing also.